Welcome. We're here for a 15-minute yoga break, and you're welcome to join me for as much or as little of the 15 minutes as you like. I invite you to find a chair. It tends to work a little better if your chair has a harder bottom, but if all you have is a recliner or a couch, that works too. I'm sitting on a futon, so that's not super hard, and it works well enough. So throughout our practice today, you'll hear me invite you to do different shapes using words like perhaps or maybe or you're welcome to. And what that does is it's really an invitation for you to choose to move or not to move. The studies that were done on this type of yoga have shown that when people hear that over and over, that they actually develop a deeper sense of agency. Something that can be hard for trauma survivors. So if you'd like, you're welcome to have a seat. And you might be lengthening your spine to the sky. So maybe lengthening your spine to the sky. And perhaps noticing your breath. I noticed I was holding my breath as I was doing the intro. So if you notice you're holding your breath, one option is to invite your breath in. You might notice the pacing of your breath, like are your inhales and exhales similar in length or are they different? Then one option might be to continue breathing as you are. Another option might be to invite your breath to even, so that maybe your inhales and exhales are similar in length. And one way to do that can be to count how long you're inhaling and exhaling. And so you can pick a number. I usually use like 4 or 6. And so maybe as you're inhaling, counting in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Then as you're exhaling, you might count for 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're welcome to continue to breathe in that way, inviting your breath to be more even, counting as quickly or as slowly as you like. Or you can breathe as you are. You have a choice. Maybe just taking a few more breaths if you like. And perhaps continuing to notice your breath. If you've been noticing your breath, you might turn your head to one side. So you might be turning your head to one side, maybe turning it part of the way, or you might turn it as far as you can. You have a choice. And if your head is turned to the side, you might bring it back to center and perhaps switching sides. So you might be turning your head to the other side. And if you're turning your head to one side, you might turn it part of the way, or you might turn it as far as you can. You have a choice. And if your head is turned to the side, you might bring it back to center. Maybe tilting your head to one side. So you might tilt your head to one side. So maybe your ear moves in the direction of your shoulder. And if you're tilting your head to one side, you might notice some sensation in the sides of your neck. You might notice it somewhere else. You may not notice any sensation at all. And perhaps bringing your head back to center. You're welcome to switch sides. So you might be tilting your head to one side, So maybe your ear is moving in the direction of your shoulder. Maybe noticing your breath. You might notice movement in your belly or chest as you breathe. You might notice it somewhere else. And if your head is tilted to the side, you might bring it back to center and perhaps lowering your chin to your chest. You might lift your head back up. And you're welcome to move between those two shapes. So one option might be to lower your chin to your chest, maybe lifting your head. Another option might be to make circles with your head. So you might roll your head from side to side. You could make full circles. You have a choice. Maybe noticing your breath. And perhaps bringing your head back to center. So you might reach one arm up to the sky. Maybe lifting one arm up to the sky. You could stay here. Another option might be to lean to the side. So you might be leaning to one side, maybe placing your bottom hand on your legs, or maybe placing it on the chair or the floor if you're sitting on the floor. Perhaps noticing your breath. Maybe noticing movement as you breathe. And if you're leaning to the side, you might lift back up to center. And if your arm is lifted, you might lower it. And you're welcome to switch sides. So maybe reaching your other arm up overhead. So you might have one arm lifted and maybe leaning to the side. So you might be leaning to one side. Maybe noticing sensation in the side of your body, or maybe your neck or shoulders. You might notice it somewhere else, or maybe not at all. And if you're leaning to the side, you're welcome to lift back up to center and perhaps lowering your arm if it was lifted. And one option might be to place your hands on your legs. Maybe as you're inhaling, you might move your belly and chest forward, maybe lifting your chest and chin towards the sky. And maybe as you're exhaling, you might round your spine, perhaps lowering your chin to your chest. And you're welcome to do that again. Maybe inhaling, you might move your belly and chest forward, perhaps lifting your chest and your chin up. And perhaps as you're exhaling, you might round your spine. And you're welcome to move between these two shapes. Maybe noticing your breath. And you're welcome to do one more. And perhaps making your way back to center, and perhaps turning to your right. So you might turn your torso to the right, perhaps placing your left hand on your right leg. You could place your right hand on the chair or floor behind you. Maybe noticing sensation in your torso or shoulders as you turn to the side. You may notice it somewhere else, or maybe not at all. If you're turning to the side, you might make your way back to center, and you're welcome to switch sides. So maybe turning the other way. So you might be turning to your left, perhaps placing your right hand on your left leg. You might place your left hand on the chair or floor behind you. You have a choice. Maybe noticing sensation across the backside of your ribs. You might notice it somewhere else. Maybe not at all. Perhaps releasing. You're welcome to make your way back to center and perhaps extending one leg out in front of you. So you might straighten one leg, maybe placing your heel on the floor, and you could lengthen your spine towards the sky. Another option might be to hinge at your hips and fold forward, maybe placing your hands or arms on your legs, or perhaps placing your hands on the floor. You have a choice. And you may notice sensation in the back of your extended leg. You might notice it somewhere else. You may not notice any sensation at all. And perhaps lifting back up. You're welcome to switch sides. So maybe bringing the leg that you extended back in, if you had a leg extended. And you could extend your other leg out, maybe placing your heel on the floor, perhaps moving your extended leg towards straight. And you might stay here, perhaps lengthening your spine to the sky. Another option might be to hinge at your hips, perhaps folding forward, maybe placing your hands or forearms on your leg, or you could fold forward, perhaps placing your hands on the floor. You have a choice. Maybe noticing your breath. And perhaps lifting up if you are folded forward. You're welcome to cross one leg over the other. So you might cross one leg over the other. So maybe your ankle or the lower part of the outside of your shin is on the thigh of your other leg. You might open your knee to the side, perhaps lengthening your spine. And you're welcome to notice your breath. Maybe noticing movement in your belly or chest as you breathe. And perhaps releasing. You're welcome to switch sides. So you might cross your other leg over. So maybe the outside of your ankle or lower part of your shin is on the thigh of your bottom leg. Perhaps opening your knee to the side. Maybe noticing some sensation in the outer hip of your top leg. You might notice it somewhere else. Or maybe not at all. Maybe noticing the breath. Perhaps releasing. You're welcome to place both feet on the floor. And maybe reaching your arms up to the sky as you inhale. You might fold forward as you exhale, maybe placing your hands on the floor. Or you could place your hands on your legs or your forearms on your legs. You have a choice. Maybe noticing your breath. And if you're folded forward, you might lift back up. And to close today, since this is our last week before our summer break, I'll share a little bit about volcano breathing as a technique you can use to help calm the body. So you're welcome to start by bringing your hands together in front of your heart. So we say palms together at heart center. And maybe as you're inhaling, you might reach your arms overhead. And perhaps as you're exhaling, you might reach your arms down and around by your sides and then bring them back together at heart center. And you're welcome to do that a few more times. Maybe inhaling, bringing your arms up overhead. And perhaps exhaling, you might bring your arms down and around by your sides and maybe back to the center. Maybe inhaling, you might check. Perhaps exhaling, you might bring your arms down and around back to center. And you're welcome to do that one more time. You're welcome to take a little rest on your own if you like. It's been my pleasure to guide your practice today and over the past several months, and I look forward to seeing you in September. Looking at September 14th as the likely restart date as we take a summer break. Thank you for practicing.